This is the present library in Port Neches. In May, a local banker offered a large sum of money to the city to build a new library, which the city gladly accepted. That may have started the threat of a recall vote. A local critic of Port Neches City Council says 2 of the councilmen voted to spend tax money to study plans for a new library in a closed session. Dorothy Stanley says James Hollier and Dennis Dunlap violated the Open Meetings Act in voting to spend the money, but both deny the charge.
All I know is that it has come before the council in a council vote to let an architect firms draw up the plans, in which at that time I was in favor of, and I still am.
Well, I'll say this about the library. We voted a 3-2 vote on libraries, you probably all know. The library at this time would not have been built or will not be built unless we get the substantial donation from Mr. Hebert.
Dunlap says Stanley threatened him with a recall election if he voted for the library expenditures before the vote. The city council critic cited other reasons to remove the 2 from office, saying they voted to keep an allegedly unnecessary 2 o'clock work session. Stanley says give the city manager too much power. And she charges Hollier has tried to make the city council conform to his schedule. Hollier says he just voted to keep meetings within a range of times he could attend, since he regularly works 12 hours a day. For sure, both men say they will remain in office if and until they are forced from office by a vote of the people. From Port Neches, David Lowell, Channel 6 News.
I'm here today to happily announce that Air Texana and Red Carpet Airlines will begin service from Jefferson County to New Orleans next Friday.
According to Air Texana's president, William D. Tyra, the flights to New Orleans will be both cheaper and shorter than those offered by other airlines, which require stops in Houston. And it's just the beginning, with additional flights to Houston's Hobby Airport, Dallas Love Field, and Austin expected to follow. According to Tyra, Air Texana will be successful for 2 reasons: a renewed emphasis on customer service and the Convair 440, a propeller-driven 50-passenger airplane used extensively and safely for many years.
Now, we're operating what might be considered older airplanes, but this is one of the most successful airliners ever built, next to the DC-3. It's pressurized, it's air-conditioned, it has a safety record that is enviable. It's a comfortable airplane. Just about every seat on it is first class.
Jefferson County Airport Manager Al McDill, who has seen airlines come and go in the past several years, believes that Air Texana offers the kind of service that will make it successful where others have failed. Do you think that using smaller airplanes and emphasizing customer service is going to be enough to make Air Texana profitable where others were not?
Yeah, I do. I think this is the answer. I think the type of service that Air Texana is proposing is the answer to the needs for air transportation in this community.
Ticket information for Air Texana flights will be available through Texas International until further notice. Albert Zipp, Channel 6 News.
Well, you see, I retired. We did have a policy at 65, and a policy that I helped develop of retiring at age 65 for all of our employees. And I retired under that policy. I think the policy has been changed now to 70, and I suppose it would be possible, but I am not seeking a job. I don't need another job. I came to help because I love the district. And I'm not, I'm hopeful that Dr. Lodestro can be able to return tomorrow. But as soon as he can resolve his problem, I'm anxious for him to come back. Well, you see, I retired. We did have a policy at 65, and a policy that I helped develop of retiring at age 65 for all of our employees. And I retired under that policy. I think the policy has been changed now to 70, and I suppose it would be possible, but I am not seeking a job. I don't need another job. I came to help because I love the district. And I'm not, I'm hopeful that Dr. Lodestro can be able to return tomorrow. But as soon as he can resolve his problem, I'm anxious for him to come back.
They didn't have any real squabbles. They didn't show the seamier side of their party, and I think that they did well.
Congressman Charles Wilson adds, with this year's conventions, the tables are turned. This was the GOP convention in 1976.
Fellow delegates, may we please have order?
They had a lot of bitterness at their convention. On the other hand, Jimmy Carter had the Democratic nomination sewed up, so we were able to have a love-in at our convention, and we came out of the conventions 35 points ahead, and it ended up to be a very close election. I think the same thing will happen this time. I think that the Republicans will come out 35 points ahead.
With Reagan apparently ahead, Wilson commented about the president's strategy.
The president was ahead of Teddy Kennedy, so he didn't want to debate and take a chance on muffing it. He's behind now, so he wants to debate and hope that Mr. Reagan makes a mistake.
I dreamed that Jimmy Carter asked me why I wanted his job. And I told him I didn't want his job. I want to be president.
Ted Kennedy has said Reagan will beat Carter. Kennedy is expected to light a fuse at the Democratic convention and wait for an explosion in 1984.
He feels that he has to make his point. And also, I think he's probably thinking a little bit about 1984.
You think he might try it again?
Sure.
Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
Many times these days we wonder how we do without our air-conditioned cars and our homes and our businesses, while our ancestors did in the olden days, so we thought we'd go back and see what it was like. And what could be hotter than an early 19th century steam engine with nothing but open-air cars? Step inside the restored antique coaches. The conductor, Mr. Reed, will be by momentarily to pick up your tickets. The 72-ton Iron Horse gallops down the tracks near Palestine. It's the Texas State Railroad being pulled by an 1896 steam engine, the kind you don't see too often anymore. If it hadn't been for the iron ore industry in Rusk, there never would have been a Texas State Railroad. Convict labor from the North Rusk Penitentiary helped lay the original tracks. But when the iron ore industry shut down around 1917, the train began to lose large sums of money for the state. After that, it ran only intermittently, under several rail companies. In 1972, the Texas Parks and Wildlife picked up the railroad's jurisdiction and began restoring it. Antique rolling stock was brought in from several states. Engines and cars were repainted and fully restored. Another fixture that's been in the railroad business for nearly 40 years wears the conductor's cap. Mr. Reed says the romance of the steam engine brought him to Palestine and the Texas State Railroad.
There was a certain amount of nostalgia, and it's just a different job altogether. It lost some of its, what shall I say, romance when they went from steam to diesel. And especially for the old heads that had been working on steam engines nearly all their life, when they went to diesel, why, they were very disappointed and said the diesel wasn't any good and that it wouldn't last, and were very disappointed.
Today, it's Texas' longest state park, an East Texas landmark, and more than thousands of people take a trip into railroading's golden era each year. Normally, the train runs from Rusk to Palestine and back, but because of track repairs this summer, you can take either a 16-mile trip from Rusk to Maydale or from Palestine to the Jarvis Switch. Inside the cars, a pleasant breeze lulls you into the past. And the weary young travelers find relief in the concessions car. What's your favorite part about this train?
The ice cream. Ice cream.
What do you think about this train ride?
It's fun.
What's your favorite part about it?
Going across the creeks and rivers. It's going across the bridges, all the bumps.
Does any of it scare you?
No, but it's fun.
And you'll even find many a grandmother and grandfather have made more than a couple of trips on the old train this summer. Whether it's for their grandchildren or themselves is up in the air. Now we're zipping by at a roaring 10 miles per hour. Up ahead in the distance, you'll see the old Palestine Depot coming into view. Over $5 billion has been put into the restoring of the entire operation here for a trip into the past that is priceless. Riding the Texas State Railroad near Palestine, Barbara Bedrick, Channel 6 News.
Federal disaster relief is for people that get flooded out. It's for people whose homes are washed down the side of a volcano. It's not really because we're uncomfortable.
So there's probably no effort to get this area considered a disaster area?
No. Now you asked me particularly about some pasture problems. We've had 1.5 million chickens die in Texas. It's possible that there would be Small Business Administration loans made available to those people to get them back on their feet again. But as far as general disaster, no, you can't have a general disaster because it's hot or cold.
We have a petition here that we'd like the citizens of Beaumont to sign just to show the support of the public that y'all support us in a pay raise that we'd like the city council to give us come October 1st.
All right. The policemen and wives have been soliciting support for the petition drive all day at Parkdale Mall and at Gibson's. One of the officers trying to get signatures says the going was slow at first, but he found that a lot of people don't know how much a police officer is paid, and soon a lot of them started signing the petition.
Yet we are probably the largest city in the Golden Triangle, yet we're the lowest paid. And all we're doing is asking the citizens of Beaumont to get behind us and support us so we can present the petition to the city council, and hopefully we'll get a pay raise that is fair and something that will give us something to work for.
A leaflet the policemen are handing out shows a Beaumont policeman makes less per hour than a Jefferson County deputy or officers in Port Arthur, Port Neches, and Nederland. And a second-year officer makes less per hour than an apprentice pipe fitter, air tool operator, or grocery store checker with similar experience. The policemen aren't always successful in getting people to sign up, but they will continue to solicit support from the public for the next couple of weeks when they will meet with city officials. David Lowell, Channel 6 News. The Park and Open Space Plan, approved by the city on June 17th, deals with future development and redevelopment of city parks and open spaces. Earlier in the year, a study showed that Beaumont was one of the fastest growing areas in the state, but in the area of parks, Beaumont had somehow lagged behind. This new plan is an attempt to correct that.
We have parks in our park plan for every potential future residential area. The rate of implementation of the plan, in other words, when particular parks will be built, will depend on how fast growth occurs in Beaumont and where that growth is.
The situation right now stands like this. Beaumont has several small parks, with Terrell Park, right here, being the only large one. Terrell Park is complete with a golf course, the only city park to have one. It also contains acres and acres of open space for picnicking, bicycle riding, or just lounging around. The so-called residential parks have swimming pools, small picnic areas, maybe a basketball court, and very limited recreational means for children.
A real concern is the low and moderate income areas in eastern Beaumont, where most of the vacant land has already been used up. The people in these low income areas are more dependent on public recreational facilities than people in some of the higher income areas.
The current park and open space plan is good for 1 year. After that, it will be reviewed and possibly updated to fit the needs of the city. Jim Oliver in Beaumont, Channel 6 News.
Through the combined efforts of Gulf States Utilities Company and the Program for Human Services, many senior citizens will live in cooler homes and possibly receive lower electric bills this summer because of a weatherization program developed specifically for them. Gulf States was asked by the Program for Human Services to offer training sessions to retired senior volunteer program members on how to better insulate a home and offer other tips which should keep a home cool. In turn, the RSVP members go out into the community and teach their weatherization skills to other senior citizens. And if eligible, senior citizens can receive funds for weatherization materials from the Program for Human Services. Recently, the weatherization of this home located on Abraham Street here in Beaumont was made possible through funds offered by the Human Services Program. Bill Brooks, Supervisor of Community and Institutional Programs for Gulf States, explains that other alternatives for staying cool are also being looked at.
We're working to try and find out a little bit more about some programs that are designed to assist in this heat wave with fans and other measures to help them keep cool in their homes. Of course, immediately we advise people to try and shade their windows as much as possible, use natural ventilation, and try and just do everything they can to stay cool.
Weatherization training sessions for the elderly will continue through next week in both Beaumont and Orange. Officials for both Gulf States and the Program for Human Services hope to expand their sessions into Port Arthur very soon, and they estimate that when all training sessions are over with, that over 2,000 senior citizens will have been helped in the Golden Triangle.
Ads like these appear in newspapers and magazines every day. They urge people to trade their old gold, silver, and diamonds for cash. But unless the money is really needed, Dennis Alter, Vice President of Gem Jewelry Store in Beaumont, urges you to do one of three things. Either have your jewels remounted, trade them in for different ones, or keep them.
The point I'm trying to make is that selling jewelry may not be the best thing, the best way to convert your jewelry. If you need cash, it certainly is, because the cash values are as high as they've ever been. But we suggest if you don't need to sell, that you consider either remounting or trading first. It is much more economical to the consumer.
But at a time when the price of gold is above $600 an ounce, many people are anxious to sell while the price is right. As for diamonds, Alter says the overall value of those will increase over the years if they are properly cared for.
And it is better to keep and repair your jewelry than to try and sell it. People who sell their jewelry should be selling it because they don't think they're ever going to want it again. People who sell jewelry shouldn't be selling it with the intention of coming back in a year and buying a new ring of the same size.
If you feel the need to sell your jewels, Alter says do not advertise in the newspaper, because that would mean an open invitation to thieves that there are valuables in your home. Jim Oliver in Beaumont, Channel 6 News. Agnes Ott lives on Glasshouse Street in Beaumont. She started collecting cats for pets and companionship some time ago. Rumors have it that more than 70 cats are now being kept by Agnes. She lives on a limited income and really can't afford to feed herself and the cats. But help came by the way of the Humane Council and Jan Helm, an employee from Joski's.
I was told by a friend of mine about Mrs. Ott, who had a problem with too many cats. And so she had asked, could I do something about relieving Mrs. Ott of all these cats, because, well, she's not only an 86-year-old widow living on a very limited pension and very little money coming in, she was trying to feed all these cats, and she was depriving herself at the same time. So we said, sure, you bet we'll help.
Let her in here. Let Miss Ott in here. Yeah. Yeah. Feels good, huh? That's wonderful.
Well, I think this is the best thing that I've ever had happen to me my whole life. The children is what I love. The children makes me understand more as an old woman that God is good. He's really good to me.
We decided we'd rather do a little more than just catch cats for Ms. Ott. So we started a fund to get a fan for Mrs. Ott. She has one small fan and no air conditioning. So we started the fund to collect money to get the fan for her, and then we just started bringing food, and everybody started bringing food, and all the employees from the entire store pitched in.
This is a winning ticket. I think this is a ticket that will bring everybody in, and Ambassador Bush is quite a campaigner. Governor Reagan is an excellent campaigner, and between the two of them, we've got the strongest ticket that we could possibly have.
Perhaps the most exciting night of the Republican convention came on Wednesday. That's when rumors of a Reagan-Ford vice presidential ticket were running wild, and those of us at home were a little confused by it all. But for those in the Texas delegation on the floor, the situation was a bit clearer.
Well, about 7 o'clock, we were told that Ford had accepted with certain provisions. And we did not know what the provisions were at that time. And I don't think anyone other than probably Governor Reagan did at that particular hour. About 15 minutes before Governor Reagan came to the convention hall, we got word that Bush had been picked as the nominee.
Yesterday, President Carter launched a stinging attack against Reagan. He said the former California governor has no respect for the presidency since he tried to give away its powers to Gerald Ford. Byrd feels this argument doesn't hold up.
Well, he didn't give away any powers at all because he told Ford forget it. He wouldn't use him for vice president.
The Republicans have their convention behind them, but the Democrats still have to go through with theirs next month in New York. Byrd offers this piece of advice for any Democratic delegates from the Golden Triangle that plan to attend.
Put food in their pocket or purse so they'll have it on the convention floor. You get very, very tired of just hot dogs.
It was at the turn of the 20th century when the Lucas Gusher heralded the dawn of the oil industry in southeast Texas. Swarms of speculators, fortune seekers, and hangers-on converged on the site of the Gusher, and Gladys City was born. That first oil boom didn't last very long, only about 3 or 4 years. But while it did last, life was exciting, and the people at Lamar University have done their best to recreate that excitement in the Gladys City Museum. Featured this month is the blacksmith, a man who did much more than simply shoe horses, as Director of Museum Services David Hartman will attest.
Well, blacksmiths were wheelwrights, and they were farriers. They had the equipment to make and repair tools. They were very essential to the oil fields because this precedes the time when motor vehicles were common, and all the heavy draying, for instance, was done with wagons, and that's where the blacksmith skills became very important to make and repair wagon hardware, any kind of chain or cinch or bracketing. They made and repaired tools for the oil fields, tongs, chain wrenches, you name it, they made it.
Gladys City is quiet these days, but the boomtown comes to life each September during Boom Days, a celebration of a way of life that, to this very day, allows the people of the Golden Triangle to enjoy one of the strongest economies in the nation today. Albert Zipp, Channel 6 News.
Port Arthur is used to getting about 4 to 5 inches of rain during the month of July. Up to now, the city's received less than an inch during this month, and relief is still a long way away. So this morning, the City Council approved a water rationing plan for Port Arthur, which Public Services Director Bob Bauer says is an emergency plan.
It'll be in effect as long as it's necessary due to the water situation. Our supply and demand problems have become acute as we have gone into this drought period. So this is action that's been authorized by the City Council for the manager to take based on the situation in the water plant today.
Hospitals, nursing homes, and other health care facilities are top priority for water use, while watering lawns and washing cars are least important. The ordinance allows for odd-even water rationing based on the street address of the residents. One of the city's health care facilities is in need of more than just water, though. The air conditioning unit at the city's health clinic has been out for a while, and the day's cooling temperatures helped ease some of the uncomfortable conditions.
Well, I would think that the temperatures have probably been getting up into the low 80s. That's not a whole lot warmer than the 78 that President Carter has mandated that we try to maintain in public buildings. But in a health clinic, of course, we have priority, and we would be able to maintain a cooler temperature and make it more comfortable for the staff and for the patients.
The clinic should be air conditioned again soon, since a compressor needed for the unit is on its way to the clinic. As for the water rationing program, citizens will be encouraged to save water from now until further notice. From Port Arthur, David Lowell, Channel 6 News.
The first day of draft registration has gone pretty smoothly here at the Jack Brooks Federal Building in downtown Beaumont. Smoothly speaking in a procedural sense. While there has not been any organized resistance movement towards the draft, there is one man who feels that it is not necessary. He's Ron Phillips, an ex-Marine who served in the Vietnam War back in the late 1960s. He received the Purple Heart for a wound he sustained from 2 hand grenades and felt then he was serving his country. That's not the way he feels now.
We weren't sent to fight for freedom. We were sent to fight for rubber, for titanium, for oil. I won't support someone else's greed. I won't allow someone else to make another $1 million off of someone else's blood again.
Phillips is in Beaumont urging those who register for the draft to include a statement on their forms.
I would say to write on the draft form that I am registering in protest, and hopefully when the time comes to be classified, it will increase their chances to get a conscientious objector status.
The Vietnam War has many similarities with the Afghan situation, according to the ex-Marine, a case of politics, and he feels men should not die for politics.
It's a political statement to the Russians in Afghanistan. It's not needed. The Afghanistan people can take on the Russians. The Vietnamese people took on us. How did a small nation defeat the United States? We were defeated in that war because they were fighting for their freedom. It'll be the same thing in Afghanistan. Let the Afghanistan people take care of the Russians. Let the Russian people take care of their government. Let the American people take care of their government.
Phillips has answers for those who feel people should not get upset by all this. They say it's only registration, not an actual draft. Phillips says it's a first step, a deadly first step. Bruce Cates, Channel 6 News.
Each day, this scene is becoming more and more common in East Texas. The record-breaking heat wave and the lack of rain have pushed the summer fire season ahead more than 6 weeks. Last July, there were only 52 fires reported in the 24 million acres of East Texas timberland. But this year, it's a different story. There have already been more than 265 fires reported. In the 4.5 million acres that make up Area 3, there are only 16 two-man crews with dozers to ride herd on the wildfires. Officials say both equipment and men are suffering from the heat and the high fire count. Area Forester Bobby Young says it's going to take more than a little rain to cool down the woods.
When the fuel is already dry to the condition that it's in right now, even just a small rain, say like even an inch of rain, really won't give us a whole lot of relief if it's followed up by this extremely hot 100+ degree weather and then a little bit of wind, because the surface water has already dropped to the point now where it's going to take several weeks of a continuous general rainfall to give us any relief.
Foresters say they expect the number of fires to increase daily. And with this record-breaking heat wave, the lack of rain, it could set the stage for one of the worst fire seasons in Texas history. Tom Steyer for CBS News in East Texas.
Southern Iron and Metal is located on College Street. The nearest residential area is about 1 block away. The residents who live here on Chamberlain Drive say the noise is loud enough already, and if allowed to expand, Southern Iron and Metal would be even closer to their front doors. City Council members were in attendance at the hearing as several residents expressed for the second time the hope that the Planning Commission will deny Southern Iron and Metal's request to expand.
I believe that it is the duty of every property owner in the city of Beaumont to enhance the value of all businesses and all property in our city by keeping up our property, no matter what the decision of this body is.
I am confused by the turn of events over Southern Iron's petition to expand their operation on College Street in Beaumont, and fail to understand why there will be another meeting after the zoning panel voted negative on the matter several weeks ago.
There have been no proposed solutions to two of the most serious and even life-threatening problems, which are the explosions and the disease-carrying routes. Even the 100-foot setback and the beautiful landscaping will do nothing about these.
Southern Iron and Metal was granted a second hearing because they said they would make several changes in their new proposal. They said they would put up an 8-foot fence, provide additional parking to accommodate their traffic, install additional fire hydrants, and build a new parking space for their employees.
Thousands of dollars in the making just to get to this June 21st meeting. The sincerity of Commercial Metals has got to be reflected in the in-depth study that they have done.
Jim Oliver in Beaumont, Channel 6 News.
Many people have come to the emergency room here at the Orange Memorial Hospital and waited for medical attention. Most of that will soon be over.
Meeting this morning, Orange County Commissioners awarded a $284,000 contract for a badly needed emergency room expansion.
The emergency room was built to accommodate a lower volume number of patients, probably about 1,000 to 1,200 a month. We're now seeing about 1,700 a month.
3 more emergency rooms will be added along with a waiting room and administrative offices. The physical therapy department will be relocated. The new countywide ambulance service will also be headquartered here in the expanded facility.
We expect the ambulance service will probably increase our patient load some, and so we think that the expansion of the emergency room facilities will allow us to serve that increased load a lot better.
Construction is expected to begin in about 2 weeks. From Orange, Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
This is Dorothy Westmoreland, a registered nurse at Baptist Hospital in Beaumont. During the course of her job, she sees victims of our long heat wave enter her hospital, and she knows something that makes it hard for her to believe that people are dying from the heat. She knows it's not necessary.
Well, there's a lot of people that do not use common sense. Of course, there is a group of people that do have good common sense when it comes to the heat, and those are the ones that do not get heat exhaustion or heat stroke or whatever.
Before air conditioning was invented, or even electricity for that matter, people were able to withstand the heat. Now she feels people have lost their common sense on how to cope with the rising mercury.
Possibly because they're not used to the heat. And before air conditioning, people just did not notice it as much as we notice it now. Maybe people are a little softer than they used to be. Get out where the air's circulating and get in, you know, wear light clothing and light-colored clothing and drink a lot of liquids, get out of the heat when they feel that they're becoming exhausted, slight headaches, things of that sort.
For all practical purposes, the current heat wave is over, but it will not be forgotten, at least not for the relatives of the over 1,000 people that died as a result of it. But with a little common sense, perhaps people will be able to handle the next heat wave when it occurs. Bruce Cates, Channel 6 News.
The request to change the speed limit on Lindbergh Drive came from the city's Traffic and Transportation Department. That department indicated that engineering studies showed that the speed limit should be increased. The studies included clocking vehicles using the street and consideration of the street's condition. After brief questioning about the change, council voted to approve it.
We checked with some of the neighbors, and they say the city did not tell them they were going to do so. Did the city notify you that they were going to raise the speed limit here on Lindbergh from 30 to 40 miles per hour?
No, they did not. They sure didn't.
What do you think of it?
30 miles an hour is too fast for this little old street already. It's long 40 miles an hour. And there's still a lot of homesteads out here, and like a lot of kids get run over if it raised to 40.
No, they sure didn't.
What do you think of it?
I hope they don't, because, you know, all these little kids running around here and everything.
It's not a very good idea. Speed limit's already too fast as far as I'm concerned, you know, on this street. They've had the patrol cars set up, and they've caught people speeding at just the 30 miles per hour. You just imagine what it would be if you raise it up to 40, they'll go 50 miles per hour.
Since the residents on Lindbergh Drive were not notified of the speed limit change, we will check with the traffic department on Wednesday to find out if this is a normal procedure. Jim Oliver in Beaumont, Channel 6 News.
Some 25 of a reported 50 members of an organization called PERICS, or Parents for Effective Rulings and Enforcement of Child Support, gathered at the corner of 10th and Green in Orange this morning. They said they were going to march to the Orange County Courthouse, and we asked them why.
We're out here to make the public aware that the judges need to put the kids as #1 priority.
They aren't doing that?
No, they're not.
Give me an example.
Well, by not enforcing child support rulings and letting the men get away without having to pay child support, the men are in contempt. You go back to court, the judges don't do anything about it. That's not putting the kids first.
As they marched, they told us some of their problems.
I haven't gotten any child support in 12 weeks. And I get $1 a week child support, and I don't think it's fair.
I have 2 children that I'm paying child support to, and I'm unable to visit with them.
All bark, no bark. All bark, no bark.
The group circled the courthouse both this morning and this afternoon. Meanwhile, we asked Judge David Dunn about their complaints.
Texas has a problem which is indicated by some information I received not long ago, indicating that we have one of the 2 worst records in collection of child support among the states in the United States.
Judge Dunn said in 48 states, child support payments are automatically taken out of the spouse's paychecks, and that might help the situation in Texas.
They'll tell him to pay, but then I'm waiting to see what they're going to do if he don't. That's where the trouble always lies.
Come up with the money. If he doesn't do that, then I'm not aware of any circumstances where he's just been let off rather than serving the jail time.
If you put a person in jail for not paying child support, then how can they hold a job to make money to pay that child support? On the other hand, if child support isn't paid, a child might go hungry. Sources inside the courthouse say these are some of the problems that make this problem a difficult one. The protesters are hoping to talk with some official group to work out a solution. We'll keep you informed on what happens. From Orange, Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
The district anticipated the court ruling and has gone ahead with plans to implement a new bilingual program beginning this fall. Charles McBee, Assistant Superintendent of Personnel for the Port Arthur School District, says the program will teach English as a second language to the children of undocumented aliens. So far, 2 teachers have been hired. Their salaries, along with other expenses, which include transportation, will cost about $67,000. The district will pay most of the cost. The new program, when it starts in the fall, will be able to handle up to 100 children of illegal aliens.
But Port Arthur School District Superintendent Dr. Clyde Gott thinks the federal government should have made more allowances for communities where illegal aliens have made their home.
We think the federal government in the first place needs to have taken a little better stand financially to support and help if they're going to allow illegal citizens to come into the communities. Then those communities where the illegal citizens live, those communities should receive assistance in school districts, in cities, and whatever else is involved in this thing.
Details surrounding the lawsuit against the Port Arthur School District are still sketchy at this time, but Attorney General Mark White said today that the state of Texas will appeal the federal court decision that opens school doors to thousands of illegal alien children. Terry Elliott, Channel 6 News.
The 2-day workshop gives teachers tips and advice on how to get along better with their students. The workshop, sponsored by the Region 5 Education Center, is taught by Dr. Edith Peacock. She says the first thing to do in getting control of your classroom is to gain the confidence of the students. But she also believes that good classroom behavior by students begins at home.
Parents are realizing that in order for their students to learn, to accomplish their basic task, to get their basic skills, they are going to have to be involved in proper behavior that's considered appropriate for the classroom. So we do lose a lot of good teachers because they have not been trained to use proper managerial behaviors in the classroom.
So that's what this workshop is all about?
Yes, there's more to teaching than just instruction.
This week's sessions are for elementary school teachers, and next week, Dr. Peacock will give advice to secondary school teachers. Jim Oliver in Beaumont, Channel 6 News.
A few men from the governor's office toured DayZeta and its purging operations this afternoon. About a week ago, Mobil Oil and an independent gas company began purging the soil of flammable gas that has plagued residents there all summer and forced the high school to close 2 weeks early last May. DayZeta Mayor Harold McCann explains the purging operation that is serious business.
You see this large tank on the right here is CO2. It's been injected through a heater system on the other side into these 5 wells in a 50-foot radius here. And it's being pressured into 3.5 to 4 pounds into the ground in a gaseous form. And then we have the ejection wells in outer circles, and those wells are drawing or sucking the propane out of the ground, and it's of course being replaced by CO2 or the carbon dioxide.
It didn't take long for Wes Anders from the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Disaster Emergency Services to get a handle on the situation in DayZeta. That many questions are still unanswered.
Yeah, we got some here.
Taxpayers are not ready to furnish that kind of support. That's right. We're already into our budget year starting August the 1st, more or less. Well,
I don't think anything will be done until they find a solution of some sort. What they're doing now is a method, but it's not the answer. I don't think it's a solution. Do you? It's a stopgap. There has to be some.
Grounds, it's just a temporary solution.
It's a temporary solution, and it'll have to be finished up one way or another.
The propane leak in DayZeta still hasn't been located, and purging operations continue here at the whole DayZeta High School. City officials say they don't know when they'll hear word from the governor's office on a decision on disaster aid. It seems the only thing for certain is that classes will begin on August the 28th. Whether the students will be coming to this high school here or to some portable structures is unknown. 6 News will continue to monitor the situation in DayZeta for any further developments. From DayZeta, Barbara Bedrick, Channel 6 News.
12. August 12th, that's a Tuesday, and it would be within
board to do is pass resolution saying, Mr. Commissioner.
Association in an attempt to weaken its representation of the teachers. Thank you. There is no 10% raise locally. They agreed to a $500 local salary increase. But you must keep in mind that we are withdrawing from Social Security in January. Even the additional $250 that they approved tonight just barely replaces the benefit that we're losing through the withdrawal of Social Security. It's a token pay increase that just barely keeps us even with where we were last year in terms of local benefit.
The total budget of a school district can't just go to teacher salaries. We have to provide for classroom, we have to provide for materials, we have to provide for equipment for teachers to use in the instructional program. Now, if he would want us to totally disregard all of those things and provisions that we have for the operation of the school, then we could give it all in salaries. I would not in any wise recommend that you totally break your school district just to give salary increases.
This is the residence of Mr. and Mrs. Clifford Morrow, and usually everything here is kind of normal. But lately it's a little different. Their son, William, is being followed around by a bird. William, where'd you get that bird?
At my auntie's house.
Well, how did it happen?
I was playing, and he flew down, and he hopped on me. Then I was scared, and I brushed him off, and he flew right back on me. And I tried to catch him again.
How long has he been following you?
Just for 2 days.
What happens when you open the door and he gets outside?
He flew away. My mama let him out, and he flew into a tree. And then he went away, and I found him the next morning.
What's his name?
Merlin.
What are you going to do with it?
Keep him.
As long as he stays, huh? Well, Merlin, how'd you manage to get on William's shoulder? Merlin? Oh, I guess he don't want to say anything to us. Mrs. Morrow did make a comment, a very brief and important one.
And he's not potty trained.
No one knows what kind of bird Merlin is, but he does spend time in the mirror and loves fresh crickets, real fresh. While Merlin didn't have any comment inside, he did agree to pose for this picture outside, and as far as we know, this is his first television appearance. You do agree, right, Merlin? Right. With Merlin, Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
Yesterday, we reported that the city approved raising the speed limit on Lindbergh Drive between Washington and College upon recommendation of the Traffic and Transportation Department. Today, we spoke with Jim Lee, who is director of that department. He told us that 85% of the vehicles using that street were traveling faster than the posted 30 miles per hour, and that police had also given out quite a few tickets to violators, but that didn't help. After studying the area, the traffic department decided it would be best to raise the speed limit.
Residents along the street generally would like the speed limit as low as possible. They tend to believe, although evidence contradicts that the lower the speed limit, the safer it is. Our primary concern is in a safe operating facility, and we feel like an investigation of the location is going to reveal that to us. I've found over the years that if you change a speed limit, you've changed very little the actual driving characteristics of the people.
Traffic may be traveling faster on Lindbergh because Lee says it was repaved not too long ago. Another reason may be that this area is classified C2, which is central commercial, but the final decision on whether or not the change takes place is not determined by the traffic department.
We do make a recommendation, yes.
But you don't have those last words?
No, the council on anything like this has to pass the ordinance making it effective.
As a rule, neither the city nor traffic department will notify residents of a speed limit change. But if you have a complaint, council will be more than happy to listen to it. City Manager Ray Riley told me this morning that the new 40-mile-per-hour speed limit would go into effect just as soon as the signs are put up, which he said would probably be in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Jim Oliver in Beaumont, Channel 6 News.
Two-year-old Jason Phillips was slain along with his parents and grandparents near Winnie in July of 1978. 33-year-old Ovi Joe Dugas of Port Acres has been sentenced to die for that crime. Awaiting an appeal, Dugas is now number 645, Ellis Unit J23, Death Row, the state penitentiary. This reporter recently received a letter from Dugas. With a multi-million-dollar lawsuit charging area law enforcement officials with brutality, Dugas says in the letter he will not comment on any part of his case. Referring to conditions on death row, however, Dugas goes on to say, the only way to learn what the situation is like is to place yourself in a position to find out. The Dugas lawsuit is expected to be handled in Southern District Federal Court out of Houston. We'll let you know how it comes out. Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
It's happening in cities across the state, in Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, and now Beaumont. Commercial banks are rising up with claims that their taxes are unconstitutional. This morning, 10 commercial banks in Beaumont protested the way that they are being taxed before the Board of Tax Equalization. The banks claim they are being taxed differently from other financial institutions and other corporations. Their position, that the Texas Constitution provides that all corporate stock should be taxed uniformly, but instead commercial banks are the only ones whose stocks are assessed by any tax authorities. The tax board decided today that their taxing of commercial banks is only following state and federal law. According to Beaumont's tax assessor collector Harry Hastings, banks should pay every penny that they're required to pay, but not a penny more. Hoke Peacock, representing the commercial banks in Beaumont, would not comment on camera, but told Channel 6 News that there is a possibility the banks will file a lawsuit against the city's taxing methods. If the courts were to rule in the bank's favor, the tax burden could wind up being spread out among all taxpayers.
Well, let me say this to you, Barbara, that taxes are the forced contribution to the cost of government. Okay. And every time we take a tax off of a property, as long as we're going to deal with the ad valorem tax for the support of local government, you might look at it like a waterbed. And when you press down it over here, it's going to come up over here someplace.
And that points to another possible tax increase for Beaumont residents. 6 News will keep you posted on any further developments. Barbara Bedrick, Channel 6 News.
The hearing took place at the Federal Building with Port Arthur city officials, their legal representative, and an attorney from the Justice Department. After hearing arguments from both parties, the bench agreed that the election should take place as originally planned, but with certain stipulations. The annexed areas of Sabine Pass, Lakeview, and Pear Ridge would have to vote separately from the rest of the city. Neither attorney would comment on the decision, but an official in Washington at the Justice Department said no further action was planned and that they would go along with the decision. Port Arthur Mayor Bernice Sadler had this comment.
I'm pleased that the court are going to allow the people of Port Arthur to vote on this matter. And of course we're going ahead and pursue the election, both propositions, and of course we're supporting the 441 plan. And we're hoping that our citizens will turn out to vote in strength. And we're setting up and putting a number of absentee ballots in boxes. Also, we have 18 different polling places, trying to make it as convenient as possible for every citizen to vote.
What's wrong with the 6-3 plan?
The 6-3 plan is a single-member district plan of government, which I'm very much pro against. We've had that at one time, and it was a lousy form of government. It's the worst form in the history of Port Arthur.
The 4-4 plan calls for 4 council members to be selected from single-member districts and 4 to be selected at large along with the mayor. The 6-3 plan calls for 6 council members to be selected from single-member districts, while the remaining 2 plus the mayor be selected at large. The 3-judge panel also instructed Port Arthur to report back to them with the results of the August 9th election. Jim Oliver in Beaumont, Channel 6 News.
Census counts according to the tabulation sheet we feel is wrong. They're showing an increase, all right, in our homes in the city of West Orange. But even with the increase of the homes, they're showing a decrease of approximately 109 homes in West Orange that are vacant. And we feel that that's not so.
Unsatisfied with the results of the recent census, West Orange conducted its own tally. Those figures were released today, showing West Orange with 163 more occupied homes than reported by Uncle Sam, and 48 fewer vacant structures than counted by the government. City officials say now that they have proof to substantiate their belief that the census figures are in error, they will take the necessary legal steps to contest the government statistics. From West Orange, Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
The Rogers Brothers' own Lockheed Jetstar landed at the Jefferson County Airport last night, but without its landing gear. Airport officials say that one of the wings was ripped back as the plane skidded some 1,600 feet before coming to a halt. At the same time, one of the fuel tanks caught on fire and exploded. The airport field superintendent claims that if it hadn't been put out by the airport's fire and rescue team in only minutes, the entire plane would have been a total loss. Those aboard, the pilot E.J. Fisk, the co-pilot, and one of the Rogers brothers, escaped without injury. Airport manager Al McDill told Channel 6 News that the plane crashed because of pilot error. McDill says that the veteran pilot, a competent one, said he didn't put his landing gear down. But other airport officials say the Lockheed Jetstar landing gear warning system is the real problem behind this type of crash. The warning signal is designed to go off when a pilot turns off 75% of the plane's power as he prepares to land. But pilots can turn off the warning without lowering the landing gear. This time, it appears the pilot simply forgot to lower it at all. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating the crash landing. Wrecking crews took up the job of getting the jet off the runway around noon. Lockheed advisors assisted.
Yeah, they've got 4 airbags under it now, inflatable bags. It'll pick up about 12,000 pounds apiece. And the weight of the aircraft is shifting on the bags and it's rolling over. The bags are moving.
But they're going to be raising those airbags up to how high?
About 5 feet. They made a gear up landing, so they're trying to get the aircraft picked up high enough that they can jack the gear down manually and then we can tow it off the runway.
The runway was expected to be cleared by the end of today. From the Jefferson County Airport, Barbara Bedrick, Channel 6 News.
Port Arthur started its day off with a mandatory even-odd water rationing system that affects the entire city. For residents living at odd-numbered addresses, water can be used outdoors on odd-numbered days. And for those residents with addresses ending in even numbers, water can be consumed on even-numbered days. Water rationing in Port Arthur does not so much result from an extreme shortage in water supplies, but rather because of extremely dry ground which has taken its toll on underground water pipes. Take, for instance, this cast iron pipe at Gillum Circle in Port Arthur. At some sections, the pipe measures 20 inches in diameter, but yet the dry ground has broken it in 3 different places. Fortunately, this broken pipe, which is a main water line in the city, has not left local residents without water. A secondary water system is taking its place until it can be replaced. So how long is Port Arthur going to ration water? Adolph Herzik, director of the Port Arthur Water Utilities Department, says there is no date.
We'll continue with the water rationing to an indefinite period until we are in a lot better shape than we are now. And until it does have a significant amount of rain here, we should continue it.
And Herzik added that city water pumping equipment has been running at full capacity throughout July, and this also makes Port Arthur more susceptible to water shortages. One thing to remember, if you live in Port Arthur and you do not follow the water rationing guidelines, you can be fined anywhere from $1 to $200. And all city workers are keeping their eye on local residents. Terry Elliott, Channel 6 News.
The school board meeting room was packed this afternoon for the hearing concerning the termination of Mrs. Pat Doyle. The Marshall Middle School language arts teacher was recently terminated for negligence. Doyle had worked 1 year of a 2-year contract when she was notified her contract would not be renewed. The teacher is contesting her termination, and contract provisions were responsible for this afternoon's hearing. Late today, the session was still going on. Wayne Sparrow, Channel 6 News.
What neighbors say was a domestic quarrel over child custody ended in the death of a young man tonight. Police have not released his name because relatives have not yet been notified. Next-door neighbors heard a shot fired about 6 o'clock tonight in the front yard of this house on Forest Glen Street in this wooded North Beaumont neighborhood. Police arrived on the scene and found a man in his 20s lying on the front porch with a .243 caliber deer rifle wound to his head. Tonight, detectives are questioning Paula Reed, the woman who lives at this residence. Her husband was not at home at the time of the shooting. He arrived moments later. A small girl who was riding her bike along the street near the house when the shooting took place says she saw the woman shoot the man in the head. But police are still investigating and have not yet made a ruling. A justice of the peace has ordered an autopsy. Police have not yet determined where the man lived. He had several addresses listed and had Louisiana license plates on his car. The man's body has been taken to Williams Funeral Home. We'll keep you posted on any further developments. Barbara Bedrick, Channel 6 News. America.